When Blake first filed her lawsuit, she painted a disturbing picture of what allegedly happened on the set of It Ends With Us. According to her complaint, Justin Baldoni crossed multiple boundaries, creating a work environment that made her feel uncomfortable and disrespected. Among her most serious accusations was the claim that Justin made inappropriate physical contact with her while filming a scene. Blake alleged that, without warning or consent, Justin leaned in close, dragged his lips from her ear down to her neck, and whispered, "It smells so good." According to Blake, this wasn't part of the script, nor did it fit the scene they were filming. She painted it as a spontaneous and unprofessional act of overstepping boundaries. But here's where things completely fall apart. Justin didn't just deny the claims, he provided evidence. Unlike Blake's allegations, which relied solely on her own words, Justin had actual video proof of what really happened. The raw footage from the filming of that scene was released, and guess what? Justin was fully in character the entire time. Blake was actively engaged in the scene, responding to him in real time. The interaction wasn't some inappropriate off-the-cuff moment, it was part of the performance. The crew was present, the cameras were rolling, and Blake never showed discomfort. But the most damning part? Blake was the one who initiated the conversation about her scent. In the clip, she can be heard mentioning how her spray tan might be getting on Justin, which prompted his response about how she smelled good. Blake made a comment about how she smelled, and Justin responded. Yet, in her lawsuit, she framed it as some creepy, unsolicited comment meant to make her uncomfortable. And here's where it gets even more ridiculous. Blake implied that she had been left vulnerable, forced to navigate romantic scenes without professional oversight to ensure her comfort. This, according to her, made her experience on set even more distressing. But once again, the truth tells a different story. Documents show that the production did hire an intimacy coordinator, but Blake refused to meet with her. Blake herself declined the services of the very person meant to make sure actors feel safe during intimate scenes. Because of this, Justin, as the director, had to step in and walk her through the romantic scenes, something Blake later twisted into an accusation of inappropriate behavior. Blake had an opportunity to work with a professional intimacy coordinator. She refused. Then she blamed Justin for being the one to guide her through the scenes. If that doesn't scream deliberate misrepresentation, I don't know what does. As her lawsuit started to crumble, Blake tried to bolster her claims by bringing in other women. She alleged that two female co-stars, Jenny Slate and Isabella Ferrer, also had negative experiences with Justin. Her legal team suggested that these women would support her case, proving that Justin's behavior was a pattern, not just an isolated incident. But there's just one tiny problem. Jenny Slate and Isabella Ferrer have never spoken against Justin. In fact, Isabella Ferrer had actually praised Justin multiple times. Leaked text messages between Isabella and Justin completely contradict Blake's claim that Isabella had a problem with him. In one text, Isabella tells Justin, "You are such a wonderful, smart, and sincere director, and you created such a comfortable, safe space for me." She even attached a picture of herself from set and told him that she would never forget the experience. That's not exactly the type of message you send to someone who supposedly made you uncomfortable on set. So why is Blake suddenly trying to use Isabella as a witness against him? Simple. Blake needs allies. She knows her case is weak, and if she stands alone, she loses credibility. But if she can convince others to join her fight, she might be able to salvage her case. But it's not working. Isabella's own words and actions prove that she had no issue with Justin. Now, let's talk about Blake's behavior on the set of It Ends With Us. Blake wasn't just an actress in this film, she wanted full control over everything. And when she didn't get her way, she started playing dirty. A now viral Forbes interview from 3 years ago proves that Blake has a history of forcing herself into leadership roles, whether or not she was hired for them. Blake confessed that she often pretended to just be an actress, but then later demanded creative control, blindsiding the people who hired her. She literally admitted to deceiving filmmakers, making them believe she was just there to act, and then later forcing her way into creative control. This is exactly what happened with It Ends With Us. According to multiple reports, Blake tried to take over the film's production and demanded a say in every major decision, pushed Justin Baldoni aside, and forced the studio to let her cut of the film be shown, something even the director didn't get, used her star power to pressure producers into approving her version of events. And when Justin refused to back down, she retaliated with a lawsuit. It's classic Blake Lively behavior: manipulate, take control, and when things don't go her way, play the victim. If there's one thing that's become crystal clear in this entire scandal, it's that Blake Lively's lawsuit against Justin Baldoni is built on contradictions, manipulation, and hypocrisy. She claims that Justin made her feel uncomfortable, that he was inappropriate on set, and that she felt harassed during filming. But then, leaked text messages surfaced that tell a completely different story, one that proves Blake was actually the one behaving inappropriately. In April 2023, months before she filed her lawsuit, Blake sent Justin a text message that was undeniably flirty, suggestive, and completely unprofessional. Here's what she wrote: "If you knew me in person longer, you'd have a sense of how flirty and yummy the bone-busting would play. It's my love language, spicy and playfully bold, never with teeth." Blake is literally telling Justin that she's naturally flirty. She calls herself yummy, a word that carries obvious suggestive undertones. She describes their dynamic as spicy. She says this type of playful teasing is her love language. If Justin had sent this exact message to Blake, the internet would have exploded. The media would be calling for his career to be over. Here's the most damning part of this entire situation: Justin didn't reciprocate at all. Instead of playing along or engaging in the flirtation, he immediately changed the subject and kept it professional. His response? "Sorry, was just crying my eyes out as my kids and family just left for another 5 weeks." Blake is trying to set a flirty tone. Justin completely ignores it and brings up his family instead. He redirects the conversation back to work. This text exchange is so important because it proves that Justin was not engaging in any inappropriate behavior. In fact, it suggests that he was actively trying to avoid any situation where their professional relationship could be misinterpreted. But Blake wasn't done yet. After Justin changed the subject, Blake sent another message. And him serving it back to her is just as important. You don't usually see both the man and woman with such agency and humor. Anyway, I can act it out for you next week to make sure it comes through, or I can send it now. Let me know what you prefer. XX. She literally suggests that Justin should serve it back to her. She brings up the idea of acting it out in person. She ends the message with XX, a common way to sign off with kisses. Again, what if Justin had been the one to send this? The backlash would have been immediate and brutal. The double standard here is staggering. Blake was the one initiating a flirty, suggestive dynamic. But when Justin didn't reciprocate and later stood his ground against her on-set demands, she turned around and accused him of inappropriate behavior. Once these texts leaked, the backlash against Blake Lively was swift. Colleen Hoover, the author of It Ends With Us, completely wiped her Instagram of Blake-related content. Taylor Swift, one of Blake's closest friends, has remained noticeably silent about the lawsuit. Even fans who once defended Blake are now realizing that her story doesn't add up. This is why her beauty brand, Blake Brown Beauty, has suffered a 78% drop in sales. Throughout the It Ends With Us press tour, Blake Lively made it painfully obvious that she was more concerned with her wardrobe than with the actual film. Instead of talking about the deep, emotional themes of the story, which deals with domestic violence, trauma, and survival, Blake turned every interview into a conversation about her outfits, her accessories, and her designer friends. One of the most bizarre moments during the press tour was when Blake was asked about her role as Lily Bloom, a survivor of domestic violence. Instead of talking about the seriousness of the role, she derailed the conversation into a discussion about her outfit. Instead of talking about Lily Bloom's struggles, she talked about how she designed her own wardrobe for the film. Instead of discussing the emotional depth of the movie, she showed off her jewelry and name-dropped high-end brands. Instead of acknowledging the importance of the story, she raved about how cool it was to style her character herself. Her behavior was so tone-deaf that even fans started calling her out. One viral tweet summed it up perfectly. Blake Lively is out here promoting It Ends With Us like it's a Met Gala after-party. Did she even read the book? In the novel It Ends With Us, Lily Bloom is a struggling florist who wears simple, affordable clothing. She's not a fashion icon. She's a woman navigating an abusive relationship while trying to build a better life. But when Blake got cast, she decided that Lily needed a major wardrobe upgrade. Instead of wearing modest, down-to-earth outfits that reflected the character's background, Blake dressed Lily in designer couture, completely ignoring the original description of the character. Even fans who were excited for the movie were baffled when set photos leaked, showing Blake in over-the-top, vibrant outfits that looked nothing like Lily Bloom. In the book, Lily wears simple, comfortable clothes because she's working class and trying to make ends meet. In the movie, Blake is seen in a bright pink, extravagant coat that looks straight off the runway. In the book, Lily dresses for function over fashion, often wearing basic sneakers or flats. In the movie, Blake is rocking expensive designer boots and custom accessories. Fans were so frustrated that a viral meme started circulating: Lily Bloom is a struggling florist. Why does she look like she just stepped out of a Vogue photo shoot? But here's where it gets even worse. Blake didn't just redesign Lily's look, she forced the production team to accommodate her outrageous fashion choices. According to inside sources, Blake's personal demands for wardrobe changes and high-end styling cost the production a significant amount of money. Remember, this wasn't a Marvel blockbuster with an unlimited budget. It Ends With Us is a mid-budget drama, meaning that every dollar mattered. Yet Blake reportedly demanded an expanded wardrobe budget to accommodate her fashion choices, insisted on wearing her own personal designer pieces, which created continuity issues, made last-minute changes to her outfits, forcing production to do expensive reshoots. It got so bad that even Sony executives were frustrated with her behavior. One insider reported, Blake treated this movie like a personal fashion campaign. Every decision she made was about how she looked on camera. Not about the story, not about the character, just her image. And guess who had to deal with all of these issues on set? Justin Baldoni. As the director, it was his job to balance the creative vision of the film while dealing with Blake's unreasonable demands. And this could explain why their working relationship became so strained. Blake wanted control over her wardrobe, her character, and even major creative decisions. But when Justin stood his ground and refused to let her take over, she retaliated with a lawsuit. Blake has always been known for her fashion-forward image. She's a Met Gala regular, she's been on countless Vogue covers, and she's built a reputation as a style icon. But this time, her obsession with her image backfired. Instead of making It Ends With Us about the powerful, emotional story, she made it about herself. People started calling her out for turning a domestic violence movie into a fashion spectacle. The internet dragged her for prioritizing her wardrobe over the actual character development. Even the author of the book, Colleen Hoover, quietly removed Blake from her social media. By the time the movie was released, Blake's reputation was already taking a hit. But once the lawsuit was filed, the backlash intensified. Now she's not just being criticized for her fashion obsession, she's being called out for her behavior, her contradictions, and her hypocrisy. So, what happens next? Blake's lawsuit is falling apart, her co-stars aren't backing her up, and Hollywood is seeing her true colors. She tried to paint herself as a victim, but the receipts show that she's the one who started the fire. Now, I want to hear from you. Do you think Blake Lively is lying? Do you believe Justin Baldoni? Let's get the conversation going in the comments. And if you enjoyed this deep dive, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell so you never miss an update.